Hello and welcome again to Summit Live. This is our weekly live stream brought to you on our website, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and one more, YouTube. I'm looking at Alan Smith, my co-host for today.
Hello.
Hello, Alan. Alan is our market development manager based in New York. We have a very, very special guest today. We have Peter Carey, who is the founder of Streamline. Peter is a materials expert managing resource libraries across New York City, 15 of the top design and architectural firms in the city he manages, and we're going to bring him on in just a moment and pick his brain a little bit about what's going on in today's world. Peter, welcome to our show.
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. I see that we're having a slight technical,
Nope.
Technical.
The plant is hosting the show.
The plant is, yes. Somehow we there we go.
There we go.
There we go. This is the beauty of live stream, isn't it, Alan?
Beautiful. That's how we describe it.
Peter, first of all, it's great to see you. I said hello to you 5 minutes ago. Let me just tell you that anything and everything has already happened in the 8 or 9 weeks that we've been doing this. We've lost our guest twice to Wi-Fi connections after checking and after whatever, and we were not prepared to improvise. Alan and I pretty good at it, I'd say, though.
Yeah, I thought you improvised really well.
Well, I think you did too. Peter, just a real quick hello to our mascot, Rocco. He's with us every week. You met him just before, and I understand you have a Rocco in your life, or had a Rocco.
I do. Yes.
You still do?
Yes. He was homeless, but he's been with us now for 3 or 4 years, and we had a very rocky start, but he's a loyal member of the family now, for sure.
That's wonderful. And just so you know, Rocco is also was also homeless. We got him from St. Hubert's in Morristown. He comes to work with us every day, and he basically likes to stay by my side during the day. For the most part. It's probably because I have all the biscuits in my desk. Anyway, so welcome to our show. We're going to pick your brain a little bit today and have a little dialogue. If you have any questions for us, of course, just ask. But I'll turn over to Alan at this point.
Yeah, Peter, it's been odd for all of us, I think. But you definitely have your pulse on, I think, the industry as a whole in the virtual world and in the physical world. And in the past 5 months or so, I'm just curious, how has it transitioned from what it was before to what the business is like now? Because it's such a tactile industry, and people need to feel and touch and feel the three-dimensional forms. And so we're doing our best to reach out and translate that. But I'm wondering what you're seeing on your end and what's most effective.
Well, I think that one of the most important things that everybody needs to consider is that there are a lot of assumptions going on. And like, for example, I continually get emails from sales reps all over the place, assuming that I'm still working with all of the firms that I used to. And almost immediately, me and my team of 5 employees were furloughed from everybody. And so that like I still have a dialogue with all of my clients. I still have an email address, and I get emails from all of them. And early on, it was that, okay, I'll stay in touch with these guys. And then it was really more like, well, wait, now I'm working for free. So like, what's going on? And so like, it seems to me like this whole pandemic from a business perspective has changed a great deal, in that at first we were all in it together, and now there is such a fog going on that nobody knows who works at what firm anymore. And and for me, even if I am offering to work for free to stay in touch with some firm, sometimes they don't even want to accept that. And I just do it just because I want to, just because I like them. Yeah.
It's a terrible situation, because when we reach out to some of our designer friends, we get back messages as well, in many times that they're no longer with the company, and somebody will get back to you at some point in time. We make a phone call, and there's not even a receptionist to pick up. So
Exactly.
We're quite concerned with the future of interior work, commercial interior work, we'll say. Residentially, I think it's a little bit different.
It is a different.
Yeah, with all the work at home and people staying at home more, there's definitely more projects that we're involved with. I don't know if you're involved at all on the residential end.
No, Meyer Davis is the only firm that I work with that does residential projects, and they're not like multifamily or multi-unit housing or anything like that. It's usually like very high-end kinds of things.
Right.
Well, it sounds like it's a little bit of a challenge and a struggle, or a lot of it of a challenge and a struggle for yourself and for many of us. But I know, as a fellow Star Wars fan, that the Force is with you, Peter, and that you will triumph in the end.
Well, like it was, I mean, I still have a strong memory of what happened in 2009. That was basically when I started my business to begin with. And I was not necessarily expecting to get thrown into the same environment that I was back then, but at least now I have 11 years of experience under my belt. And so I have been making lemonade, out of all of this. I've been essentially, I got a PPP loan, was able to retain some of my employees. But then instead of having them work for my clients, I had them work directly on my company. And so we've been essentially bolstering the company and really creating 2 new products that I think I can take on a national level.
What kind of products?
Well, the first one, which I have I have working prototypes for both of them, but the first one is when everything went digital about 11 years ago, everybody got rid of all of their furniture binders. But many people didn't really realize that the most valuable real estate of a furniture binder is the spine. And from there, that logo speaks a lot to what other people are saying, or to what other people are thinking. So basically, these guys want me. Hold on. I'll be with you in a minute. Later. So ultimately, the spine is the thing that will signal to the designer. The spine and the logo will say, "Oh, I forgot about that company," and it brings back all of the other design issues that or the design elements that each one of those manufacturers are doing. So what I've done with my team is that we created 1,200 mini magnet spines that are all different companies, and they all have a QR code that will lead the designer directly to their website. So many times, like to me, the main difference in resource libraries now versus then is that now you just want to provide breadcrumbs. You want to give them a trail to follow, as opposed to a completed solution. They want to complete the solution and have ownership of that.
So they don't want to be told this is exactly how things are supposed to be and how to use them. It taps more into their creative nature to follow the
yeah. And there's still like a push and a pull for that, because one of my friends who's a sales rep at a very fancy company had told me about this person who came in and saw an entire room vignette and said, "I'll just buy everything. I'll buy the lamps, the floor, everything." And so that is a certain kind of customer, but it's not every customer.
It's the kind of customer that we like, and they're very, very hard to find. So tell me, with the furloughs going on, are there still projects that are pending? Has everything been just stopped indefinitely?
Well, it's really interesting. I mean, I've been in a fair amount of my clients' offices, piecemeal here and there, and have seen the kinds of projects that they're working on. Many of them are COVID specific, or some sort of like either dealing with some sort of barriers or something like that, and or either anti rooms or things like that. And then I've talked to other firms who have said, yeah, we lost four projects, but then we gained four as well. So,
Well,
it's yeah, but it's also like, kind of like the unemployment where they say, oh, we gained all these jobs. Well, are they part-time jobs? Are they the same kinds of jobs that we had before or not?
yeah, it's funny. We hear mostly about companies that are furloughing and shrinking their office footprint, but there are others that have decided to take more space and just separate their people by social distancing. And by the way, for everyone who's watching this, including you, Peter, you should know that Alan and I are about 6 feet apart, and we're very careful. Even though we don't have the plexiglass up between us, we're both looking forward.
But around the office space.
He's got his left, and we're for the sake of the studio that we're in, we have to be about this close. But I'm all the way to the left of the chair. I've got Rocco in between us, and we're good. So anyway, there are those firms that are expanding. I know of a law firm or two that's doing that. They feel that they need to be in the office, so they are. So there are some stories like that.
Yeah.
Well, there's also, I think I mean, especially for such a collaborative environment as a design firm, that you can't do this stuff alone. And everybody needs to be in the same room in order to do that. And I mean, for me, whether it be sort of either breadcrumbs or these things that sort of trigger other parts of creativity, it's almost like you kind of never know where those things may end up. But if you stay at home all the time, you're never going to find them.
Well, I'm wondering if all this home time is allowing you to do more research on the various products that are out there. I have to tell you that just, my background is carpet and fibers, and I know how many thousands and thousands of styles there actually are, not just commercially and residentially. Right. So it's hard enough to be an expert just in carpeting, let alone what you do, which is all types of floor coverings, all types of fabric, lighting, furniture. I give you a lot of credit. So I assume you're doing quite a bit of homework.
Right. Well, it's, I find it interesting, David, because since I've been working on healthcare projects, the idea of evidence-based design has really, really resonated with me. And the thing about COVID is that we have very little evidence about this, about how best to design for it, And so there is still this sort of wait and see kind of attitude of, what are going to be the right things. And, depending on which designer you talk to, the idea of something being antimicrobial is either good or bad, because if it is antimicrobial, yes, it may kill the microbes, but then they're still dead on that surface. So then what? There is no silver bullet for any of this stuff anymore. But I think that we haven't even begun to research the lessons that could be learned from this.
Right, I think you're right. I think we'll learn so much more months from now as we're looking back and able to review the data and the actual experience with new products. But like, for instance, and not like purposely to plug, but we have Granort cork flooring and wall product. So obviously cork is it's naturally antimicrobial, right? Now, if it's a wall
and acoustic.
And acoustical benefits, right, for the wall, especially.
And it's about as green a product as you could find.
Yeah.
Right. So here, this is a Naturals, a gorgeous wall product. Again, the idea here is that, yes, it's antimicrobial, and yes, you need to clean it, and a cork solution like this allows you to sanitize the surface as well. It's not much different than sanitizing a granite floor or polished concrete.
Sure.
Well, I'll give you a really good example. I just passed my Well AP exam, and from there, one of the things that figures prominently, especially in antimicrobial cleaning, is a UVC lamp, which it's about this long, and you spread it a certain distance away from any surface, and it will take care of that.
Well,
Now,
do you have, Peter, do you have to hold that UV lamp in place for any amount of time, or you can just brush right by it?
I think I wouldn't go like that. I would stay some time with it. I'm sure it says in the instructions. I've never read the instructions, but the reason why I haven't is because so I just recently started working with Perkins and Will, and we have a enterprise-wide meeting with all of the resource librarians and all of the offices, and there was a very robust discussion about these UVC lamps, and they said, yes, they may kill microbes, but if they get in your field of vision, they'll also hurt your eye. So we don't want them, So like in a way, some of this stuff is like, which is more kosher,
Well, it's kind of always been that way. It's just a new philosophy. And so
when you're talking about life and death, I think it turns into a much more real discussion.
Right, exactly, yeah. What about you personally? I mean, over the years, past few years, I've gotten to know you a little bit and had some conversations, but what attracts you right now for interior colors and designs, patterns?
So for me, it's really more the so I also work with Björk Engels, and the way that those guys work with color is they don't pick one, they use the rainbow in as much as they possibly can, and that sort of methodology I really appreciate because it I don't know, it's very inclusive. So so this is one of my paintings. Also, I didn't go to design school. I went to art school, and I've always approached materials from a much more aesthetic perspective, but only in working with design firms has that performance aspect really started to resonate for me. Performance and evidence-based design and sustainability and things like that. Because like ultimately, design is not one thing anymore. It's like anytime you design a building, it has to do 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 different things, and I think that the manufacturing community is also getting kind of hip to this. For example, some floor coverings are also really good walk-off mats and can talk about cleaning the indoor air of wherever they are. And that sort of passive activity, I definitely appreciate.
How are these reps? A little feedback in my ear. How are these reps actually able to see you now, or present to you, or to present to other designers? Do you see a lot of what we're doing live streaming going on, or more of the Zoom type meeting?
I get a lot of requests for Zoom meetings. I'm not a big fan of them, and judging from the designers that I'm working with now, they aren't either. So it seems like, the sort of product presentations still need to happen in person, and it needs to be real.
I'm going to show you something just to go off this track for a moment. As you're saying that, Mark Becker, who's working behind the boards right now, is pointing to the light box, and he's about to go onto a live camera to show you and to show everybody what we do. We have a light box that really lights up, and we've got a hand camera right now that you're seeing. Just some ideas of this happens to be freestyle from Object Carpet, and you can really truly see the patterns and colors from this particular light box. I think we're doing a little bit more of this sort of thing that designers would appreciate.
Well, for me, David, the thing I really like about this is that, we've been talking for a number of years now about how today's workforce really has more of a nomadic lifestyle, and that kind of floor covering really sort of speaks to that, and it's about, again, it can do more than one thing, it can also inspire you, but also, just like feed you with texture and information and everything.
Yeah.
Well, it's not uncommon when a designer might ask for a specific beautiful product, and kind of knowing that they're not going to use it, but they can use that sample, right? Bring it to a client for inspiration, and then branch off of there. And that's what we love, because we have such a wide variety of products. So when they do lead with one of ours, they also more than often than not follow with another option of ours, which is awesome. And like you were saying before, the need for a quick exchange of information, depending on the industry you work in, especially a creative industry. If you have a physical space, a physical library, where you can walk up and grab a book with your colleagues, flip through, you can know within seconds or minutes whether it's a product that you'd like to choose or not. Yes, like when you're at home, there's a plethora of information on the internet. You can search through all these different companies and designs, but then you can sort of sometimes just get lost. You kind of feel like you're adrift at sea, and it's a bit overwhelming.
Well, many times I come across designers who primarily source through Pinterest, and the way that I see that is that design is already done. Why are you trying to replicate that? Be original. Do your own thing.
Right. Well, that's kind of leading back to what you're saying with the leaving a trail of breadcrumbs, right? To kind of, here's a taste of what you could possibly do, and then expand it and build it into your own space, rather than just looking at a model and replicating that as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the way that you guys operate and the way that many manufacturers operate is that there is a narrative behind these materials. They have a story.
Yeah.
And that story can either be used to inspire the designer, could be used to sort of like latch on to a project per se, or something like that. So, I mean, like all of that, that whole design, I love to say design happens by discussion, and that talking about this stuff and trying to figure out all the different nodes in which they connect is really what keeps me in this industry.
Okay, so once again, I'm going to tell you, yesterday when I was looking at your website, I noticed that you had a little reference to Batman, that you said that, and I love it, because I'm from that generation of watching Batman and Robin, the Boy Wonder, and you said that you are Alfred to the designer's Batman, and I love that. And not many people would understand that unless they're pushing their age a little bit, but I get it, and I think that's excellent. What's that word? Connotation? Not well, whatever. Yeah, you know what I mean. It's very funny.
That word, right?
Yeah.
No, you provide so much insight and information because you work in one firm, right, and then another firm, and then another firm. So you have this myriad of data, drawing into you. So when one asks you a question about something specific, you have great answers, and that can be very helpful to us too. When we're doing vendor fairs, I miss those so much. Just being in person, talking to yourself, talking to other vendors with totally different products. The community, the wealth of knowledge is shared in that space, and it's just not quite the same. And that's what we're trying to do here. This is our, like you were saying, lemonade. This is our lemonade.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're making lemonade from the lemons that we have.
Yeah.
And the word was analogy that I couldn't come up with. That's how my brain works. About 10 minutes later, I'll remember the word. So listen, Peter, we want to thank you for taking the time out of your day, coming here, explaining what you're going through. We feel it. We feel for you. We feel for us. We feel for everyone. We want you to remain safe and healthy. We will all get through this.
Right. And Peter,
thank you guys very much.
I have to ask you, I know we put some of those images up. If we can put some of Peter's paintings up again, can you just tell us just real quick about your art world, your art life?
Well, yeah. I made that one's actually on its side, but I made a series of paintings. Well, let me just say I have a degree in photography, and the last photograph that I took in my studio cost me $1,500, and it took me 2.5 years to make it.
Wow.
No, it took me a year and a half. And so I said, I need to do something more immediate. So let me make a painting. And it took me a year and a half and cost me $1,500 to make it. So, the process, I guess I'm just a process guy, and it is about drawing upon all these different either myths or legends or popular culture or my own psychology. So that's, and now actually, so I've been overhauling a lot of resource libraries. And every once in a while, I'll find just like the coolest sample. And so I've been accumulating these things. And now I'm making these little dioramas because now I have all these like superhero action figures. And I'm almost done with my Star Wars one. And it should be done this weekend. So I'll send you guys photos.
No, I would love that. Yeah. Do we need to keep those photos private, or can we share those?
Oh, share them by all means.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will share them. Once again, thank you, Peter.
Thanks,
Peter
Peter.
Carey of Streamline, the founder of this New York City-based design and architectural sourcing firm. We thank you very much, Peter. Remain healthy and safe, and we hope to see you in person soon.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Take care, brother.
So next week, we have another very interesting guest. We have Coco Black of Coco Black Design.
Mm-hmm. Coco
Black is one of the most unique gym flooring designers you will ever see. He's a brand genius, and you will see next week Coco on our show speaking specifically about gyms, how to stand out from the crowd, and it's a big industry. Gym, if I'm not mistaken, is somewhere around $90 billion of memberships per year.
Yeah, it's huge.
Worldwide. That's substantial, and he's different. So we look forward to seeing Coco on our show next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. If you have any questions for us, please do not hesitate by reaching out to us at our toll-free number, which was 877-496-3566, or email us at info@summit-flooring.com. We would love to hear from you. We'd love to have your ideas of what you may want us to speak about, a subject, or if something needs to be done a little different.
Or, catered presentations using this
that's another
as
thing.
well.
We have this studio right here that we can do presentations, as demonstrated before with our light box and our cameras. We can do a very nice presentation, and I know Alan has been doing them over the last couple of weeks, and we're here for you. We're here for the design community. We're here for everybody. So again, thank you for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you again next week, 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. Thank you very much, and everyone stay healthy.